Anyone who's bought and implemented software knows the process takes too long and costs too much. Is there anything that can make it better and more efficient? Welcome to Firing Line. I'm Bill Kutik, and our guest today answers a big yes to that question. I'm delighted to welcome back to Firing Line Naomi Bloom, expert analyst, consultant, and hands-on participant in HR technology for nearly 50 years, and my good friend. Naomi, thanks again for coming back and to talk about these issues that I think pretty much affects everybody who would be watching this show.
Absolutely.
Together, although I wasn't with you for all those years, we've seen enormous advances in technology.
Yeah.
You certainly, since you were writing
I'd
assembler.
like to think we've done something in those 50 years.
Exactly. Yet, the process of selection and procuring and implementing software has changed, so little. What can we do about this?
Well, you have to really get to the nub of the problem before you can come up with the right solution. So when you start teasing this apart, first thing is it's very manual today. You get a bunch of people around tables, you have walkthroughs, you are discussing process designs, you got a bunch of consultants running around who are billable hours, so maybe for them manual's not so bad. But the manual nature of it, the handoffs, then you have all the people that have to be involved, and they have to share knowledge, and they have to agree on things. They are all champions of their own point of view, so reaching agreement, the decision-making processes can be pretty time-consuming. Then we have the processes and practices and HR plans that date back to the first coming, all of which should really be rethought. I mean, the last thing you want to do is just automate the old stuff.
I mean, but what will any company say, okay, we want to buy new software, but we're going to figure out how to optimize our processes first and then find the software that enables it?
Well, that's kind of a problem, because if you optimize them first, you optimize them without knowing the possibilities.
Okay, so it has to sort of happen at the same time.
It really does. But you absolutely can clean up the sludge data at the bottom of your data tanks. I mean, if you look at some of this stuff, there's going to do analytics, and you're going to have really bad advice. And the worst would be from your other Firing Line show where Holger was talking about predictive.
Right.
Okay. Well, imagine we're predictiving, I don't know if that's a word, with bad data.
Right.
So there's a lot that companies can do up front to get themselves in better shape.
And what are some of the things you think that vendors, prospects, and consultants can do right now to make some of this better?
There's a lot they could do, and it's not expensive stuff that they need to do. Companies have to get a lot better at decision-making and change management, because no matter what else is going on, no matter what technology they buy, it's going to be different. They're going to want to rethink how they do business. They're going to want to rethink process design. All of that takes time and energy, and the sooner they get started on learning how to do that, getting efficient at doing it, the better. They have to rethink how they use consultants, because somebody who's being paid by the hour is perhaps a little reluctant to speed things up, okay? So again, these are all actions that could be taken tomorrow that don't depend on the particulars of the software. The particulars of the software matter a lot when we start redesigning data, redesigning processes. So you have to sort of make your decisions on the software before you go too far down the path.
Excellent. So tell us about this thing that, I've heard you talking about for at least 20 years,
Yeah.
which means you've been thinking about it for a lot longer than that you unfortunately call interrogatory configuration.
Bad mistake.
But tell us what it means and what it might do.
It is a piece of software that lives in parallel with the application we're talking about, that automates the hell out of every aspect of buying, implementing, because now we're in a continuous implementation mode. It does all of that for you in the same way that the question and answer capabilities for our American listeners of TurboTax works.
Good analogy.
So the software says, in how many countries do you do business? And you pick the countries, and it knows what the regulations are, so it can begin to prompt you about how you want to handle things. The downside of this is it's really hard to do. And what's tricky about it is we needed specific technologies that we did not have 10 or 20 years ago. Great idea, but we couldn't do it.
Right.
Even now, you need specific underpinnings because you want to configure dynamically, which means being able to change that software on the fly. Very difficult, but frankly, the vendors who get there have a huge barrier to entry for others.
So that must mean that someone somewhere soon will find the bucks to make it happen.
I think that there are a number of vendors who are working very hard at this, and frankly, they're all doing pieces of it.
Right.
Everybody's got automated data loading tools now, everybody's got configuration wizards, but putting it all together, that's the gold standard.
Naomi, once again, you've analyzed a tough problem thoroughly and come up with a solution that no one can afford, but is a great solution. So thank you so much for coming back.
Thank you for having me.
To catch next month's episode of Firing Line, just click on the red subscribe button at the end of the show. You'll get just one email from YouTube when each new episode is posted. Thank you for watching. I'm Bill Kutik.